Hey,
Hi Manish, good evening.
hey, good evening.
So candidate is joining soon. Can you please wait for 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hi Hemant, good evening.
Hi.
Hi,
Mani.
hey. We'll
Hey.
start the interview in a minute. Just give me a minute, okay? Hey, Hemant.
Yes.
Hey, Hemant. Hi. So let's start the interview. Can you please share your screen as well? Okay. I think you are mute. Wait a minute. Can you unmute yourself? I can't hear you.
Yes, sure, sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, Hemant, I'm Manish. I'll be taking your interview.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me first give you a brief how it is going to go. First
Okay.
couple of minutes will spend with your introduction, where you just tell me what you have been doing in your current organization, what
Mm-hmm.
projects you were involved with, and what was your contribution with those projects. Then we
Yes, sir.
will move on to some basic concepts of JavaScript and
Mm-hmm.
React, right? After that, I'll give you a coding exercise, going
Mm-hmm.
to be quite straightforward. So actually, we plan to do two questions, one of simple JavaScript, right? And
Mm-hmm.
other would be a bit more React oriented. Cool.
Okay.
After that, if we have some time remaining, we can take up questions from your end, or we can just end the interview. Cool.
Yes, sir. Got it.
All right. So
Yeah.
please tell me a bit about yourself.
Mm-hmm. So I'm Hemant Nirmalkar, and like uh, I'm a software engineer at Whitehead Junior. It is also known as Byju's Future School. So currently, it's an ad tech company. So currently, I'm working for working on a project called Byju's Maths. So this one is a math project for it is basically for American market. So it is for grade 4 to 8. So a student can come there, learn some math stuff, and practice their like whatever they've learned, and yeah, stuff like that. So it has some cool animations, and like this website is very interactive. So I'm working on this thing. And apart from that, I like earlier I was working on uh, this project called TR Vesta, Teacher Recruitment Vesta. It is for recruitment of teachers from all over the world. So it has so on like it has so it is a recruitment for the teachers. So uh, basically, I made uh, a small like kind of website for that, where teachers can come and register it, and and I have done internationalization for that, and I have like worked on some like lot of features in TR Vesta as well. So I for the long time I was working on this project TR Vesta, and currently I'm working with this TR Byju's Math. So
Okay.
any question you want to ask regarding that?
No, no, sure. So what is the tech stack at your current organization?
Uh, Tech stack is React.js, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React.js.
Okay. And you work solely on the front end or do back end as well?
Uh, I have bit knowledge of backend. Earlier, I used to do when I was back then when I was an intern in a company like
Okay, so
that.
you are mostly front end oriented at your
Yeah,
current
yeah.
place, right?
So
Okay,
I'm
that's great.
only doing front end. Yeah.
So if I ask you to rate yourself out of 10 in JavaScript, how much would you give?
Uh, I would say 7 to 8.
Around 8. All right.
Uh,
And what about React?
mm, Same for React also.
Okay, same for React also. All
Mhm.
right, that's great. Then let's start with JavaScript. Could you tell
Mhm.
me what is an event loop?
Sure. So event loop is basically there's a stack here inside the browser where like whatever code we execute, right? It goes into that and stored and got exist like and after going inside that, it is inside browser. I mean, it's a part of browser uh, which executes code like on stack manner. So like it goes like something goes there and it gets executed. So that is event loop.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, all right. So, all right. Tell me this. There are three console logs. Okay.
Okay.
First line is console log one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Second line is a set timeout,
Mm-hmm.
inside which there's a function which has a console log two, and the
Mm-hmm.
timeout interval is 100 milliseconds. Okay. And the
Okay.
third line is console log three.
Okay.
So first and the last line is a normal console log. The second one is wrapped within a set timeout. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
with 100 milliseconds. So if we execute this, what is going to be the output?
So output would be, so first it will go to console log one, that will be printed, and then it will go to set timeout, and uh, it will go into the stack and it will wait, and then console log 3, then console log 3 will be printed, and after some time console log 2 will be printed. I guess it will
Okay.
be like that.
So you are
Should be like
saying it is 1, 3, and then 2, right?
yeah, yeah. It should be like
Okay.
that.
Okay. Is it because of the 100 millisecond that we waited for 2?
No, it's not because of that. Be, I
Okay.
mean,
Let me rephrase the question.
uh,
Let's say instead of 100 millisecond, there was a timeout of 0 millisecond. Will that change the output?
no, no, it won't change the output.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
Good. Now, since we talked about event loop, could you tell me how the like there is you can implement inheritance within JavaScript, right? Let's say you
Yeah.
want to extend from one object properties methods of one object to another,
Yeah.
and you have to let's say methods of object one should be available to methods of object two. So
Mhm.
how would you implement that?
So first of all, I'll create like object of so there are two. Is it class based inheritance or prototypal inheritance? Like,
So
uh,
okay, that we can come to. Okay, so what kind of inheritance does JavaScript implement?
so both like class type and prototypal. So class. So suppose we make a class and we define some methods and we extend that class in another class and we can use those
Okay,
methods.
okay, okay. So all right, all right. So class is just a different way of writing something. At the end of the day, it also implements prototypal inheritance also.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in JavaScript, class themselves get compiled down to objects.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
So
Correct.
all right, could you just explain how prototypal inheritance works?
Sure. So suppose we want we
We
want some
want
method.
methods of object one to be available to object two.
Okay, okay. So method of object one should be available to uh,
Yep.
object two. Like it will be available for object two. Um, so yeah, we can do it like this. So we can directly add it inside prototype of that object. Uh,
Okay. But then, okay, okay, okay. So you are telling me you will add it to the prototype. So basically, you are telling me, let's say you will add to the object dot prototype, the object
so it
which
will
is
be
the base
available
class,
to
right?
every like every objects. Yeah, it would be
Yeah, then it
available.
will be available to every object, and you will be
Yes.
polluting the object chain.
Yep. Uh,
Okay, you see, on the code side of things, you will have to write basically one line. So, and that when the time comes, you can do the Google search. That's no issue with that. I'm asking you, the question is, when you write that particular piece of code to,
mhm.
make sure the method of object one is available with object two, what happens behind the scenes, right? What does the JavaScript engine do?
So I,
Okay, can you tell me? eh, because uh, you see, you said you
every
will add it to the prototype chain. Okay, that is a
yeah,
valid solution.
yeah.
But
So there is
now,
this. Yeah. So
yeah, go on.
yeah, so there's this thing called Dunner proto, which is the main prototype, and after that, like all the prototypes of objects, it gets inherited. Suppose there's one more prototype, and like inside like another prototype, like there's a prototypal chain kind of thing. I mean,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
all right. So, okay, fair enough. Got you. Can you tell me what are the different loops available to us in JavaScript? Sorry.
Different loops.
Yep.
So loops like basically for loop, while loop. Is
Mhm.
this what you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is what I'm talking about.
Okay, so looping, like what are all ways we can loop through, right?
Yep.
So for loop, while loop, we can do recursion. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
There are different types of for loops in JavaScript. What are those?
Different type of what?
For loops.
For loops.
There is a for in loop. There is a for off loop. There is a normal for loop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, one of them is for array and another one is for object. So this is for in, for off, and mm, yeah.
Okay. So
So we can
is
loop
that the
through all.
only difference between for off and for in? Okay, it's all right. We'll move on to the next question. Can you tell me what's the difference between a normal function and an arrow function?
Yeah, normal function. Yes. So the we don't need to have this inside arrow function because it has already instance of that object. Like we need this inside function arrow function normal function, and arrow function are bit like it can return directly. Just it is bit shorter than the normal function. We don't have to write function and function name and then calling like that. Just we can use it as variable, and yeah, it's like
Okay.
that. Yeah. And
All right.
just one arrow symbol is there, and that is need to be added.
Okay. Cool.
Mhm.
So we talked about arrow. So okay. So just let's talk about the this keyword. What is the this keyword?
This is basically this contains everything so if we are using it inside some suppose it contains the instance of that object. I mean, whatever inside that. So this, if we want to access something inside that object, like we can do this dot like uh,
Okay.
hmm.
Okay.
So
So
everything inside.
what will okay, this might point to different objects when called in a different way. Okay. So so what determine what the this is pointing to? Is it where the this is defined or is it where it is called?
Where this
So you see this when you use this, it might point the same definition might point to completely different object
Mhm.
when used in a different way. So my question is, so what factor determines this? That what this will be pointing to? Option I am giving you. The first is where it is defined, or the second is where it is called.
Mm, where it is defined and so where it is defined, I guess.
No issues. Can you tell me what is a promise?
So, uh, yeah. So can like may I know the answer? Like
Okay, it is
this
actually where you have called it and how you
called
have,
yeah.
because definition happens only once, right? It is
Mhm.
this step happens throughout the application. You can call it in a different way.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah, promise. So I'll come with the promise. Like, so what is promise? Suppose so we have suppose we have a snippet of code, like a big snippet of code, and we want to run it. So as we know, JavaScript is single threaded language. So it goes one by one through each line. It interprets it. So there can be some part of code which might taking some lot of time on its execution. It might be in some, it might be some API call or something like that. So what JavaScript thread does, like in what promise uh, does, it promises that part of code that I'll get back to you, but like you're taking some time, I'll get back to you after some time, and goes on and runs other part of code, and comes back when we want to resolve, like when time comes to resolve it. So it is promise, so we can do it using I mean, yeah, that's the basic
Okay.
definition of
Okay.
it. Like it is for explaining this
So,
promise.
so when you create a promise, you give it a callback function, right? And
uh,
okay, just tell me what is resolve and
Resolve and reject. Okay, suppose we create a promise, so we create a new promise, and um, and if we there are two blocks inside it. So there are two parameters basically, resolve and reject. So resolve is for successfully execution of that promise, or like everything goes fine, and then it comes to resolve part, or else it will go to reject part. So we can access that promise using dot then and dot catch. So dot then is for success part, and dot catch is for like error part, rejection part. So we can catch the error, or we can get the data, or like whatever success thing we are doing inside the resolve part of that promise.
Okay.
Resolve and reject,
Got
yeah.
it. Got it. All right. What is promise chaining?
So promise chaining is like, suppose we have we we are doing, like we have to do multiple dot then, and like dot then and dot then. I'm not very sure about it, but it might be the uh, promise chaining.
Okay. So you said there's a dot then for success, dot catch for error,
Yeah,
and what would be dot finally?
dot finally. Yeah, there is something called dot finally also. So I mean,
Okay, no
it,
issue.
it, it might be for when it gets like, so when it
I
is
think it is either success or failure. If there's something you want to run, that will go in dot.
sorry.
Like even if the result is success or failure, if there's some piece of code you want to run, it will go in dot finally. Or else
Okay,
you will have to copy it in both the then and in the catch.
okay, okay. So got
All
it.
right. So I think we've talked a lot about JavaScript. Let's move to React. Okay. So what do you use for state management?
For state management, we use Redux.
Okay, Redux. Can you just tell me how Redux works on a high level?
Sure. So basically, it works on one principle, single source of truth. So there will be some place where all the data will be stored, and it will flow like in unidirection towards children. So it will be like that. So what happens basically, there'll be some component, and what component will do, it will dispatch some action, and this action will go to the reducer and tells what kind of action, like what kind of thing, that calculation that you have to perform, and reducer will perform that action, that calculation, and update the store. And finally those store data can be accessed by, like, by the component using provider. So that's the basic definition kind of thing for React Redux. So this is how Redux works.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me what is the context API in React?
So this is also for state management. So but the thing is that, like, we can access wherever we want. Like if we want in the very nested children, we can access that. So we can use provider anywhere for that context API. Suppose there is one tree kind of thing, and this nth number of children want some data, and it can get directly, like data can directly come to that place using context API.
Just give me a minute. Okay.
So
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's say there are three components,
Mm-hmm.
A, B, and C. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
B is the parent of A and C. Okay.
Okay.
Now from component A, you
Mm-hmm.
have to update the state of component C.
Okay.
How can you do that?
We can do it using callbacks. So,
Right?
so it
How
will
will
be
you
like,
achieve it?
yeah, it will be like, suppose B is the parent, right, and A and C. So yeah, so B is the parent and A and B, right? So callback will be here in A, and state will be here in B, and uh, whatever the calculation we are performing, we will perform and update the state of A, and update in the like whatever state is there in A, and after updating state, we know that diffing algorithm start working, and like it will run like render whole code and pass those data into C.
All right. All right. What are the higher order components?
So basically, if we pass some component inside another component and we do something and return the like hybrid kind of component, it is those are higher order components. Which take which basically takes component as a parameter. That's the thing.
Okay. Sure.
Mhm.
Have you used React hooks? Any of those?
Yes. So what kind
What
of?
hooks are you familiar with?
So I'm familiar with use state, use memo, use callback, and use effect basically, and yeah,
Okay.
use ref. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Why do we need to use useref?
To get the reference of element that we want to like perform something on it, like if to get the reference of that element. Uh, so suppose we have some element. I'll give you an example. So we have some
Mhm.
suppose some we have some element. Suppose input element. If we want to focus that input element on the rendering of page, so we can get it through the reference of that element. So and on the rend like use like component did mount kind of thing, we can focus on that input component. So it's a basic example of use ref.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. So, okay, let's say you are writing a component with the React hooks. Okay. Now, if you would have written the same component with class, in that case, you have access to various lifecycle methods, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of those methods is should component update.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So basically, it is something which React gives us if we want to explicitly state some conditions where we don't want the component to render.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in should component update, that function takes in two arguments. One is the previous state and one is the current state.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before doing a render, should component update will run and it will have the previous state and the current computed state. So
Yeah.
you can easily check between the states and put in condition to prevent a re-render, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now when
Yes.
you are writing the same with functional components, you don't have access to the previous state.
Hmm.
How can you do that? How could you, I mean, replicate the same functionality with function components?
So suppose if I do, like if I want to like make my component work as so like pure component in class based component, I can memorize it using
No,
React.
basically my question is,
I get it.
how will you get access to the previous state in functional components?
Mhm. Previous state. Hmm.
Mm, Okay, let's
Yes,
move on to the next question. So, like you said, you use Redux for state management, right?
yeah, yeah.
But
So
Redux is
how
built on
to do that? I mean,
Redux is built for synchronous operations. Cool. But API calls are asynchronous. So definitely you must be using some middleware
mhm. Yes,
for
yeah.
API calls. So what middleware are you using? And basically, what is a middleware?
Okay, middleware for here, like here for Redux, middleware is so Redux basically is a synchronous library. So and we need to have like we need to do a lot of API calls which are asynchronous, which takes time basically, and so that's why we use middleware like Redux and Redux Thunk and Redux Saga. So to perform like asynchronous operation. So that is where like
Okay,
middle
you are using Redux Saga. Can you tell me what is a Saga?
Thunk like yes, Saga we are currently using.
Yeah, what is a Saga?
Mm, Saga is also a middleware. So
I mean, okay, yeah,
which
that is
has
the name of the middleware, but there is something called a Saga in JavaScript.
in JavaScript.
Yep. Okay, let it be. So maybe that's okay. That's something irrelevant. You may not require it, right, to do your job. But when you write a Saga middleware
Mhm,
for any operation, so there's
mhm.
this keyword you use called yield, right?
Called what?
Yield, yield, yield,
Yield. Yeah, yield.
right?
Yes, yield is
So
there.
so what is the use of that keyword? Basically, what does it do?
Yield should be returning some. Yield returns some.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. It stops the execution of the program. Okay,
Mhm,
but the same we could have achieved using async await,
mhm.
right? But what is the reason that when you are writing this middleware or whatever function it is,
Mhm.
you don't use await, but you have to go with yield?
So this one is the like
Any
this
idea
one
about
performs
what is the iterator?
activity. Yeah. Sorry.
Any idea about what is the iterator?
No.
Okay. So, all right. So when we write the Saga functions, the
Mhm.
functions begin with the asterisk, right? Star.
I'm not very comfortable with Saga. Like I
Okay,
recently
okay.
started working on
Cool.
it.
No issues. No
Like all
issues.
time I was using thumb. Yeah.
I mean, you can just tell me and we'll move on. So, no issues.
Mhm.
All right. I think we have spent a lot of time with theory.
Mhm.
So, like I told you earlier, the idea is to do two questions. One is
Okay.
a basic JavaScript question. It's going to be quite straight. In fact, both the questions are going to be quite straightforward.
Mhm.
So let's start. Which one would you want to start with, the React one or the JavaScript one?
Let's start with the JavaScript.
Okay, cool. No issues. So in the chat, I'll share the input and output and
Mhm.
then explain the problem to you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Sure. Okay.
All right. So the first one is the input. The next one is the output. Okay. So
Okay.
basically what we have done is like we have printed the character and the number of time it repeats.
Okay.
Like in the beginning, A is repeated 4 times. So we did a A4. Then
Mhm.
the character changed. So we moved on to B3, C2, B4, right?
Yeah, yeah, got it.
Okay. Yep. So
So,
like let's say if the output was A, B, C, okay.
okay,
Sorry, if the input was A, B, C, then the output would be A1, B1, C1.
got it.
Got it?
Mhm.
Cool.
I'll have to solve this question, right? So, which editor I can use?
I mean, anything you are comfortable with.
Okay, so code and boxes. Go for codes and boxes. Or code, yes, codes and boxes. Codes and box. Code time. So this one is a string, right? This one should be a string.
Yeah, this would be a string.
Okay. And this thing should be the output. So we just have to count the number. So function count characters. Okay. It will be taking this thing, the parameter, and passing it inside uh, this function. Okay. And first of all, we have to go through all these strings. So what I'll do, I'll make an array of it. So
Mhm. I mean,
think
you
that,
can just solve the question and we'll go through the solution later. Okay.
yeah,
If you
okay,
need any hints, you can just let me know.
sure. String dot split. Yes. Okay. So onto constant uh, some object. So yes. Okay, check my app if you're looking here. If you don't have, then yes. So I will go to for the for loop and iterate through this thing. For loop, let I is equals to 0 and length incremental. If has this character, it has this character, that means string array index. Okay, if it has this character, then string array string array will be increasing, or it can be like this. It will be this one, or else be like really basically returning that. Okay. Oh, wait. This. This. Hmm. Oh,
So, okay, here I'll give you a hint. There's something you are
yeah,
doing
salt.
wrong.
Salt. I mean, this is salt.
So, no, but do you see what output I have given and what you have printed? So,
So I.
the output I have given is a string. You have printed an object.
Mhm.
Again, in your object, there's A6, but here is A4 and A2.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 is there. So 8 should be. Oh.
Okay, so the problem is
Mhm.
to store the result, you are using an object. So, with object, there are two issues. First,
Mhm.
it is working maybe in this case, but object does not preserve the order. Okay. So it is possible that you will get the jumbled thing. Second is you will not be able to keep track of, I mean, different occurrences. Like in the input, A has occurred twice in a series, right? But because of an object, you have just added up the results. So you should be using an array and keep on pushing the results into an array.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me know if you want a hint, okay?
Mhm. Sure.
Hey, Hemant, you are
Mhm.
defining I on line 9 and you are using it on line 8. That will throw an error.
Yeah. Oh, wait. It should be 0. Okay. So A else
You will have to maintain one more variable, like let's say current count, which you can set to 0, right?
Yeah.
You're looping over all the variables. When when the character changes, set current count to 0 again and temp to the current character.
Yes.
And you keep on
Yes.
pushing these values to the array once once it changes.
Yeah. Current count is equals to uh, suppose, so again 0, yes, and current count should be increasing, and when we are changing this, uh, at this time we will push.
So you will
uh,
push before you modify the things.
okay, uh, what character? Hmm, count. Okay, and array. Hmm, wait, what did I do? Oh no.
Just you replicate line 19, line 15 before temp. That's it.
Line 19.
No, no, no. Wait a minute. On line 15, instead of set character, you can just push temp. That's it. And put this line at the very top of else.
Uh, I didn't get in line 15.
Line 15, move it to line 14. Make it first line in else block.
Okay.
Okay. Now instead of string character I minus 1, just put temp.
What?
Remove this completely. This should be temp plus current count.
Uh, temp. Okay. Temp is the correct character. Okay. Yes. Yes. You're right. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, but why did you miss A2?
Sorry. What? Your voice is not
So
clear. That
why did you miss A2 in the output?
eight.
You see the expected output. There's a A2 at the end. In the input string, there are double A characters in the end.
I'm not getting it.
Okay, see your output.
This one is output.
Yep. What are the
Okay.
last characters? D3, right?
E3. Yeah.
See the expected output.
Yeah. E2. More E2 is there. Okay. Can for now, like I'm not getting the idea. Like, can we move to a React question for some time? Maybe.
Okay, sure. All right. Open this link, what I've sent you,
Yeah.
and give me a minute.
Mhm.
Yes, I've sent you the question in chat. Can you go through it?
Okay.
Go through the question and let me know if you have any doubt. Did you understand what the question is?
Yeah. So there'll be one button. I'll have to fetch some user data from this API, and on the click of first button, the username should be sorted according to its first name on first click. Second click, it should be according to last name, and third click, it should reset to whatever it was earlier in the like beginning. And behavior repeats.
So basically, you have to render the list of users which you will get from the API, and you will have to render the button which the behavior I have mentioned, right?
Yes. So first of all, let me fetch data.
Are you able to render the list?
Sorry.
Are you able to render the list?
Yeah. So this I got the data. I'll render the list now.
Okay, cool.
List means I'll just have to map it, right?
Yeah, you just have to map it and just show the first name. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, just the name.
Just enough. Yeah. So So data.
किस पे है प्राइम लाइन पे है क्या वो? क्या नाम है?
ये घर किसी ने बनाया ना, बड़ा खूबसूरत सा घर बना दिया। ये जो मोटे बने तो ये तो एक साल पुरानी मूवी है, वो इसी से इंस्पायर होके तो नहीं आया यहाँ पे। मैं आखिरी बात की, मैं जब ज्यादा सीरियस होना ही नहीं नहीं रहता।
हेलो भाई,
अरे ये बोल दूंगा ना कि हम बाहर
हाँ वही सेम।
किसको?
मैं बोलूंगा भाई एक ही दिन के लिए आया, दोस्त को जाना है।
कौन कौन?
या मेरा एक कलीग बुला रहा
लीव मंजिला घर।
है। नहीं यार, अभी तो काम कहने जा रहा है।
अपने लोग को क्या बोला?
So what is the issue that you are facing?
Me.
What is
So-
the issue that you are facing?
Currently, I haven't like implemented. Oh, okay. Okay. So okay. Yes. In setting user data. Set user data. Yes. Data. We're taking. Then yes. Dot sort. Kind of sorting do we have to do here? Okay. Uh, so like we are 580.
Can you tell me where you are stuck at?
Yeah, I'm not stuck. Like I have done the first case, sorting according to first name, and uh, okay, it's okay. I mean, time is over, I guess.
Mhm. Where are you doing the sorting?
Here. So this is previous. So here I'm sorting it. So I just implemented basic sort. So I I didn't do for last name and for reset also. So I just there's only one case I have implemented.
Okay, can you show me reload and show the first case sort?
Uh, which part?
I mean, can you reload the page and show me the sorting
Sure.
when you click the button?
So when I click this thing, so only one sorting is applied.
Okay,
So
that's all right.
that's it. So, yeah.
All right. Okay, man, we'll end the interview now. Okay,
Mhm.
I'll give my feedback and Lavanya will get back to you. So,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
nice talking to you. Bye bye.
Same here. Bye.